Hi, I'm Dennis Weiss for Eagle Communications. Welcome to our town. I decided to give you, our loyal viewer, a look in front of the camera and behind the camera at the same time. And you're going, how's he going to do that? Well, I took the camera guy and I put him right here. David Hawksworth, good morning.
How are you?
I'm terrific.
Good.
Love that Eagle shirt, red and our little Eagle blue, and very good.
It was appropriate for today.
Yeah, I don't have one like that. I need one. Okay, so we're at Great Plains Theater. And we have our lovely assistant, Miss Elizabeth Weiss, back there, the jack of all trades and master of almost all of them, standing behind the camera.
Thanks for taking my job today.
So, and here's why we're doing this, Dave. You know, inside the halls of Eagle that I'm always talking about local content, local content, local content. Well, I just believe it's a fact that people care about what's going on in their community. But we've never talked to the people who make it really happen. I just get to sit here and have a chat with nice people, right? But there's a lot of infrastructure that puts Channel 2 on people's television out there, and it starts right here with you and the camera, Brian and the camera, some machinery that makes it all appear on TV and scheduling and all that. So I want you to start out and just tell us who David Hawksworth is, how you got interested in doing things like this, and a little bit about your history.
Okay, well, it seems like my career has been about local content and getting people's messages out. Started out in the public access end of things. Ran a station in New Jersey for 4.5 years. And then taught high school for a couple of years. And then heard about this job in Salina, Kansas. Was fortunate enough to get the job offer, so I moved out here in 1998.
Okay.
Worked there for 10 years, and after 10 years of doing administrative work, I took a hard look at things and said, you know, I got into video because I like to do video, not to sit behind a desk and talk about hiring and people and buying insurance and that kind of thing. So I left my position there. I started my own video production business and ran that for 6 years, and then the opportunity here at Eagle came up, and it was just something I felt that was a good fit for me. So,
well, we think it's a good fit for you too, so we're awfully glad to have you. You know, I know we have Larry Avery and our sales team sitting down in front of businesses all the time talking about the power of video. I think we see the power of video as citizens, but maybe we don't talk about it much. You know, last time you and I were together at a place where your camera was turned on, we're at the Eisenhower Library, and we filmed a section about suicide prevention, focusing on veterans. And you went home and you edited that video and you put it up on our Facebook page, and different people started pushing that, and you know, in less than a week there's 2,600 views on that video about a very important topic. That's the power of video, to get a message across. You've had a long history with video. Tell us a little bit about why video has the impact on people like it does, and what it takes to make it good.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Elizabeth is telling you got to look at the camera. She's also an editor, by the way. You know, producer, editor, camera lady.
I'm not so used to being on this end of things at this point in my life. So, you know, it's just something that I think people just really care, like you said, about things that go on that they can do something about. So, for instance, like the Let's Promote Hope that we did a couple of weeks ago. You know, it's something that people can see, can learn about things, and then they can take action. And that's, to me, what the power of local video is. It's just that people can figure out ways that they can make a difference in their own community. And if people, you know, bring that to them through that video, I think it helps people to not only know what's going on in the community, but then they can figure out ways to do something about it to make the community a better place.
You know, sometimes it's so much better to be lucky than be good. So we're sitting here filming this and talking about the power of video. And right now, everybody that will watch this video knows that the train track that hauls grain in and out of Abilene is right behind where Great Plains Theater is. So if they don't even know where Great Plains Theater is, they just learned something. It's by a train track in Abilene.
Right.
So, you know, people navigating in might want to come down here, see a play or a concert. They're going to know it's right by the train track because that's the power of video. They heard this sound, they saw us while we were doing this, and now they have learned something about a topic that wasn't even on the video today. It's interesting you say they care about things they can do something about. I guess you and I use a lot of technology. I don't know that I'm a technology fan. I'll let you speak for yourself. I really enjoyed growing up, going to Uncle Clayton's house and sitting quietly, other than laughing quite frequently, and listening to my dad and Uncle Clayton interact and talk to each other about all the things that was part of our life. Not many people do that anymore every Friday night. But video captures that for people, informs them a little bit, and gives them a chance to interact with David Hawksworth that they might not have had a chance to do that any other way.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know that I can say it any better than that.
Okay, so you came here from New Jersey in '98. I came here from New Hampshire in '92. We've circled around the same geographic area, which is Salina, Abilene area, doing business. You had a video production company. So talk about some of the things you've put in front of your camera and what outcomes you got from doing that.
Okay. Probably the thing that we did in Salina at the public access operation there that I was the most proud of is that we started a program called the After School Media Literacy Program. And it was for middle school students, 7th and 8th graders. And we basically, it was like a couple hours after school twice a week. And we taught them everything there was to know about media and not just video. I mean, that was certainly a big part of it, but you know, we talked about radio, we talked about theater, we talked about magazines, and how that all kind of interrelates, and the different ways to get messages across. And then at the end of that, we had them, you know, they learned how to operate all the equipment, and they did a short video on whatever topic it was. I can't remember what it was and then we had a big premiere, public premiere of their video work at the end of that, where they used all those tools to put together that final product.
As an entrepreneur, you took a camera out and pointed it at a lot of people's stuff because they hired you to do that. Why did they hire you to, not why did they hire Dave Hawksworth, but why did they hire a video guy to come out and do that work?
Well, I think that more than ever in this day and age, video is probably the most effective way to get that message out. I mean, you've seen it exploding on YouTube, you've seen it exploding on Facebook, you've seen, you know, Snapchat is totally based around pictures and video, you know, that visual medium. So it seems like the world is moving in the direction of using video as the primary way to get some of this stuff out.
I read a news story this morning, just quick read it. It said such and such company volunteers to buy body cameras for every police officer in the United States, and I thought, well, that's half smart, because the power of video cuts both ways. It shows us what we think we see, right? Everybody's been to a magician show, and you sit there and you watch the lady appear out of a box and disappear, and she's over there. Well, we know it can't be true, but we did see it, didn't we? So, you know, as you look at video, you look at what your camera points at. We edit nothing on our town. That was my rule. I'm quite proud of that. because we can guarantee when people look, every stupid thing you and I say today, they're going to get to hear again, because we edit nothing for this program. We have a front end and a back end, and it just runs. It's the honesty of what I think and the honesty of what our guest thinks. And so I think that's part of the power of what goes on in local content. You know, I don't think I've said this to the camera before, but we get metrics from our TV viewership on what people watch, and local content, specifically Channel 2, is always in the top 10, and we have 400 channels on. The rest can be moving, whether an NCAA game is on, or a football game's on, or a baseball game's on, or Days of Our Lives are on. You know, there is some continuity, but it's only in about the top 30 channels. That's always interesting to me. But very interesting to me is the fact that local content's always in that grouping. I think it simply says what you said, people care about what's around them.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a way for them to interact, and you know, even if you're an elderly person who can't get out of the house, right, it's a way to feel connected to your community, which ties into our logo, or our slogan.
Yeah, that Eagle Communications, our community connected, we've used that for a number of years, and I think it was just a simple statement about who we are and what we do and how we think about it, but it really does apply to this, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. You know, we put a lot of people in that chair to talk about their business, not talk about ours, or talk about their strategies. And we've sat here in Great Plains Theater and had Elizabeth, who's behind the camera, in that chair quite a number of times. And the reason is because we are saying, we put people over there that present their vision of prosperity and the good news in our community. And by doing so with video, we know we can be additive to their efforts.
And you never have a shortage of people who want to be on the show.
Yeah, that's great.
You know, and you know, sometimes you go out and get the guests, and sometimes the guests come to you and ask to be on the show.
That's true.
And I think that shows that they think they'll be effective at getting their message out through this medium.
Yep. You know, as you say that, I'm sitting here and saying, okay, the Abilene Gunfighters have approached me a couple of times. The judge has approached me a couple of times in the Abilene Gunfighters, and we just have never been able to get that scheduled. But that would be a very interesting thing. It'd be very visual. It's a historic thing in Abilene, and they want their story out there as, you know, as being an important part of the economic revitalization efforts of Abilene. And that's what we do. Okay, I want to ask you a couple of hard questions. So yes, all right. Well, it won't be hard for you, they're hard for me. How do you decide what looks good through that lens?
Okay, well, that is a hard question. I think a lot of it just comes from experience. And messing around with things like, you know, how far or close the camera should be, or, you know, how far to zoom in, and how the zoom affects the way the picture looks in terms of, you know, is the background out of focus, but the foreground's in focus, and, you know, so there's a lot of different subjective things, and I don't know that there's any one right answer to that question, but you know, it's just a matter of you know, now being, you know, having done it for 27, 28 years, and just knowing, you know, how things work, and how to put that final product together.
I have some distinct memories about the answer to my own question. So we used to go to the Eisenhower Presidential Library and sit down with Carl Weisenbach, who was the director in Ike's office, and film, and Samantha would always say, so where do you want to set up? And my answer was always the same, wherever the camera person tells us. That for a long time it was Elizabeth, and then Brian came along, and so wherever the person looking through that lens tells me, that's where I want to set up. To me, it's an acknowledgement, I think, of that standing behind there and presenting the quality images they see is a gift and a talent that you just can't replicate by turning the camera on. And I don't know what it is, but some people have it and some people don't.
Well, yeah, and I think that applies to any profession, really. I mean, there's people in chemistry, for example, that it just comes very naturally to them, and I couldn't tell you how to make water,
Well, nobody can tell you how to make water. There you go. We sat here the other day with a little golden gnome and Becca Swartz and Margaret Clare and filmed a program about the film festival here at Great Plains. And I've been involved with that since the get-go as Eagle. We've been the cash sponsor for prizes for a long time. But I've always been amazed at when you look at the video that shows up on the screen, the wide disparity of what it looks like. I think a lot of it's equipment, but a lot of it is just the eye behind the equipment.
Oh, sure.
And bit of a thank you to you and Brian both. We've always had good video and good audio, which makes people want to watch again. If you can't hear and you can't see, there's no sense of leaving it on channel 2,
Right.
So, and there's a lot of challenges that come, especially the audio side. We still get a lot of people calling us and going, this commercial was too loud, the commercial was too soft. Gosh, it used to be simple. You went out and you put a screwdriver in this little slot in the modulator and you went like that. Nowadays in the digital world, everywhere from that hard drive that sits on the back of your camera right there to what we actually play this video with, all of those audio levels are that each machine, each piece of software has something to do with that processing. It's a lot harder than it used to be to make it sound good.
Yeah, we have some guidelines that we try to follow when we put pieces together, so that we try to get more consistent audio across all the different commercials that we produce and the shows that go on Channel 2. So.
But it's still a try, right? It's not a perfect world.
It's not perfect. I mean, and then there's other things that might influence how it sounds on your TV at home. Which we hope it doesn't get too far off, but once in a while it does, and then we do have to go.
They give us a call and we go fix it.
Well, I don't fix it.
Somebody
else fixes it.
There we go. I'm always asking people what's the most important thing to them, and I think of your career of pointing a camera at things. We have set together in this environment at what I thought were some pretty important things, like the one we shot at Eisenhower 2 weeks ago. I think that was a pretty important thing. So thinking back through those years, what are some of the important things that you pointed a camera at? And we have 2 minutes for the hardest question here.
Everything is important, because if it wasn't, people wouldn't be in front of a camera doing something about it. So there are certainly things that I've liked producing more than others.
Okay.
But I think in terms of things being important, well, everything is pretty much equally important.
Great answer, Dave. Having said that, I'll finish off by saying we're talking about local content. We have a guy who makes it happen and a guy who just enjoys talking about it. But we produce content for businesses, we produce content for organizations, we produce content just for the community because we think it will prosper the community. And once in a great while, like today, we produce content about ourselves, just so we can help people understand the opportunity. So I really appreciate you coming in, getting on this side of the camera, talking a little bit about content and how it works and why we do it. I know people will be interested in, and not only that, when you stop for gas or you go get the oil change at Home Automotive, people are going to say, hey, I saw you on TV.
My anonymity is ruined now.
Hey, I'm Dennis Weiss. I work for Eagle Communications. This is Dave Hawksworth. He works with us as well. We're awfully happy you were here to watch today. You have a great day.